Welcome to the Creative Spaces podcast with Guy Zwick and Scott Samil of Highway 85 Creative. In each episode, we will discuss creative ways to define your space and build your brand.
What I want to do we'll actually bring it up in the write-up of this. It's not spliff. Spliff is more like joint. This is spiff, like I'm spiffing. Spoofing. Maybe it is
spiffy.
Spoofing is like making fun of something.
Here's what we're going to do.
Hey, we can make up. It's our podcast. It can be whatever word.
That's right. It's a word now.
Spiff.
In 9 minutes and 30 seconds, we're going to stop this episode. Until then, we're going to talk about something, and it's going to start with a question or a comment that was submitted to us by one of our family members, friends, targets, customers, partners. It reads like this: trade shows, engaging with attendees the right way. Let me read that again. Engaging with attendees the right way. So I'm going to put this out to a conversation. Guy Zwick, what does that mean
Don't
to
do it
you?
the wrong way.
Keep going.
We're done? That's it?
All right, Joe.
Don't do it the wrong way. I'm kidding.
Let's go.
Engaging with the attendees in the right way. Well, I mean, the obvious right off the bat is know your audience. Know that, your audience, who are those attendees? And say, well, that's obvious. Well, not necessarily. Are you an open show that's got the general public? What other industries and other products? I mean, how segmented is your audience? So just knowing your audience is like where you got to start. Scott.
And I think it's also important to consider that it's really audiences. Your audience is going to be broken up into different audiences. If you're at a trade show, you're probably going to come across people that are already current leads before you're even at the show. You're going to come across people that have never even heard of you, so now they're like a brand new prospect. You're going to come across vendors and partners, you have.
He's giving me.
You should bring them the trade show.
No, can I keep going? Because you're doing awesome, and your audience is in some cases your vendors.
Yeah.
Your audience could be ownership or executives who don't normally show up to things. I mean, your audience can mean all kinds of different things.
It can be your colleagues in the industry, the people at the show that aren't going to buy from you or sell to you, but still your competitors.
So it's funny. This brings back a lot of the conversation we've had in episodes past. But it's almost like your answer is the right answer. In other words, engaging with attendees the right way. There is no one right way, but there are several wrong ways. One of the most wrong ways, or wrongest ways, let's go with most wrong ways, is don't put thought into who you think you're going to be talking to before the show starts. That's the biggest way to mess up, correct?
Yeah.
What you guys just talked about. Okay, let's use an example. Let's use an example with one of your clients. You don't have to say the name of the client, but talk to me about the industry, talk to me about the kind of show it is, and we'll just kind of go off that as an example.
All right. I was just at a light fair with a few clients. So a lighting show.
Okay.
Right?
Wow. So talk to me about that. So every vendor there is having lights or some kind of components for lights or home. Like what's
interesting, huh? The cannabis industry was a part of the focus for some companies. Green lights, growing. Then home growing. So just the ag part of it was, you don't think that when I say lighting, that's an audience.
Where was the show?
And guess what? That audience was not being spoken to 2 years ago at this show.
What show? Where was the show?
So the audience is changing.
Was it Vegas?
No, this one was in Philly.
They should have the next show like in Colorado or Toronto.
Yes. Well, they have
Vegas or Seattle.
No, you were asking
Vegas is legal?
Yeah.
The audience sure. There.
100%.
So let me break down that audience. So you have the commercial side of it. So you have the buyers that buy commercial lighting and exit signs, and right. You have the buyers that would be buying for the Home Depots and the Lowe's and some big online stores and Amazons that are you still had individual attendees who were at this show. There's I mentioned that there was the weed side of it and
Right.
the grow side of it as well. There's an international component to this show because it's an international show that isn't at some of the other events.
But which is to say, though, that there's a lot of booths, a lot of vendors selling a lot of different things, and their audiences aren't exactly the same person.
There's municipalities that are there that are only looking for, again, the exit signs.
So let's drill down, though. If you're any one of these, going back to the title of engaging with attendees the right way, so step one is who do you want to talk to? If you're going to spend the money to go there, are you doing it for brand awareness? Are you doing it for product awareness? Are you doing it for, hey, I want to make a sale? The answers to that inform how you treat attendees and who you want to attract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not to get way off tangent here, but it brings me back to one of the podcasts we did with Nexus 21 where they thought about that through and through. And so in the run-up to this trade show, there was a lot of communication going into, hey, come see us, win this. And when they got there, there's a whole process. But that's the right way to do it. Basically, in short, in my opinion, you guys can react off this. The best way to do it is the right way to do that is think about it first, right? Think about who you want to talk to and what the end goal is. And then the plan to communicate to them both before and during and even after should be thought out. Correct?
Correct. And this might be an interesting story because I bring up the grow, the weed part of this thing because this particular client that I'm referring to did not want to make this a big deal a year ago. It was kind of hidden in the booth, really minor. This time to try to put it out on there. It's a very small segment of the business, but it's a growing industry. So let's put it, they made it a big part of showing. Even though it's a small segment, they're walking the show. That actually got them more attention and had more conversations with their other customers and audience because they had that. People taking pictures of the grow light, people taking pictures of the graphic of a big, marijuana plant. Right. And it had this buzz going on. And so they, in a weird way, were talking to their audience in a whole different manner than they normally would have just because they have this other side that people didn't know about. And it got attention.
That's beautiful. If the three of us had a marijuana growing lamp company, oh my God, we'd have some fun. I call it Bob Marley lighting. Our entire booth would be like a shack. We'd be having this little fake smoke going on. But that's naming your brand. But that's a really good point. It's okay to accentuate a smaller part if it's going to bring greater attention to what it is you are as a company. So that's the right way, not to be overly simple here.
It's sometimes not the right way.
Well,
it can be, in this case, the right way would have been, that's a small part of our audience. It's really not here.
That's linear, yeah. They think about why you want to, do you want attention, yes or no? Okay. So, and there's a way to do that and also introduce them to the rest of the products that you have to offer. I'd like to go see that show one time.
The light show?
Yeah.
I think the other thing too with this particular question about engaging your audience the right way is thinking about that word engaging. Like, don't just hand them a brochure and a giveaway pen and be like, call me if you need anything, engage them, make it engaging, make it interesting, give them a reason to stop and talk to you for more than 2 seconds.
Everybody that walks up to that booth matters. That is something I think, even though as a salesperson or a company, you've got to weed out, time it's a valuable time there. You treat everybody awesome. You just
let me
exemplify professionalism.
Well, let me take the
excitement.
Let me jump in with this. I want you guys to, not necessarily plug yourselves, but when you guys did the Exhibitor Live, the last 3 times you've done it, a huge part of what you were there was about engaging people who came to your booth, right?
Yeah.
So for this past year, how did you guys engage with your attendees the right way? Give me an example. Talk about it.
So the biggest thing that we did was at Exhibitor Live this year, we were actually a show sponsor, and we had kind of a photo booth type experience. So that gave people a fun, cool reason to come to our booth, and it was also a fundraiser for scholarships to attend the show next year. By participating, you could also enter to win a scholarship for next year. So that gave people a lot of reason to stop at our booth, and it was a fun, cool thing. And then while they were there, we could talk to them while they were waiting in line. And then on top of that, we were also showing off some of our new technology options that all had a station that people could stop and look at and touch and feel and interact with. So we gave people a lot of things to do at our booth and things to see and things to talk to us about.
And on top of those things that we did, we had put thought into, we wanted our competitors to be touched by us, and not in a negative way, in a loving, like, partnership type thing. We wanted our industry to be touched. That's why we partnered with the scholarship thing, that we want to be a part of the whole industry and show. Industry, show, our competitors, other vendors. We wanted everyone, our giveaways and skateboards were all given to touch everyone. To, we ultimately were there for trade show managers. We wanted to get awareness, and we wanted to get leads and potential sales. So that was an audience, but we didn't negate any audience, is my point. Because we wanted full love all the way around. We want to be respected in all aspects, and we're all in this together. It's not a zero-sum mentality. So we took care in what we wore, what we did at party. Everything was to just to address all audiences.
Right, and I'm going to bring this back for a second, because that's a beautiful thing, and I mean that, and it's, you're not faking it, because it's who you are, and the entire company sort of has that persona now. And it's beautiful, but switching gears, if you're you're an accountant, you're selling some kind of accounting software, it might be a little bit different, but you still have to find a way to engage in the right way with your prospects. So all I'm saying is,
you just said to be who you are. That is who we are. If you are ultra competitive and this is secret, and we're CIA combative here, then you play that role.
Yeah, exactly.
And that you don't be bashful. That, look, I don't share all my info. You've got to give me this, and then I'll let you know more. I got to qualify you. I mean, but you can go about it in a very authentic way.
Let me. Well said. And I don't want to talk about this now. Maybe tee this up for another podcast, another conversation. But what comes to my mind when you say that, it's very easy to say, be authentic. It's easy to say that. People, oh yeah, be authentic, be who you are. My challenge to you is, I bet you that a lot of your clients, they don't really know who they are. And so because of that, it's hard for them to affect the right experience and the right engagement in the right audience, because they're not quite sure who they are, if they are sure, they have to hedge their bets and they check the box. And so it's very easy to go generic and vanilla, just like that. You have to have the conviction, the awareness of who you are, the conviction to sort of beat your chest and say this is who you are, and the confidence on the execution of that. If you have those three tenets, you can do some damage, whether it's a 10 by 10 or a 100 by 100.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. That's something that we as a company have put a lot of thought in and talked about a lot, and we know who we are, and we have made a conscious decision to own that and be unapologetically who we are.
Beautiful.
Our mission statement has a cuss word in it, and we're like, well, is that going to turn some people off? And we're like, well, that's who we are. If people don't like cussing, they're probably not going to like working with us. So, we are who we are.
Bitch.
You know what I mean? And that's how we run our marketing too. As the person who does our marketing, that's how we run all of our marketing too. That this is who we are, and if you don't like it, you probably aren't going to be happy working with us. So
know who you are. Be who you are. I'm dropping the mic.
Done.
Thank you for listening to Creative Spaces Podcast. For more information about Highway 85 Creative, visit us at highway85creative.com.